Alrighty, guys. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Ryan, joined by Joel here,
All
Michigan
right.
Storm Chasers. Going to do a briefing for today's expected impactful weather. We are expecting anywhere from snow to sleet to freezing rain or even just plain rain here in Michigan. Let's go ahead and break this down as simple as possible, starting with current conditions. We do have snow as expected up here in northern lower from Cadillac, Traverse City, Petoskey, Sheboygan, and some pretty heavy snow here in a couple of these areas toward that Gaylord area. This typical, just your snow, no freezing rain up there. Just at this time, just gonna be some snow working through. We have a forecast. We'll go over that here in a second. But as we get later in the day, our attention turns down here further south. We're going to have some precipitation develop over Lake Michigan when it arrives on shore here. It's going to push across the state into the eastern half. So we're going to cover that here in a second. But overall, radar right now is pretty clear if you're not in northern lower. We do have some scattered snow showers that could be making the ground out there from Mount Pleasant to Kalamazoo. But right now, it should be pretty light in nature. We're on the east side. You guys are clear, at least for right now. Up into Thumb, perhaps by Huron County, could be getting some snow showers. But the bulk of this precip comes later this afternoon and evening. Let's go ahead and dive right on into the models and go ahead and break this down hour by hour. So this is the HRRR short-term model. Shows a snow, rain, mixed precip here. Let's go ahead and take this full screen. So this is going to be your prediction as of noon today. We're going to be looking at mixed precip moving into the state. Now, overnight models did shift a little bit further to the north than last night's. So I have to account for that today. But anywhere basically from, we're going to say south of Mount Pleasant would have a chance for mixed precipitation. So the blue is your snow up there further north. So north of Mount Pleasant, you guys should remain all snow. Anywhere south of Mount Pleasant should be anywhere from snow to a rain to a sleet or freezing rain mix. This is noon today. Let's go ahead and move it into 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to notice the precip picks up there in southern Michigan. But we're noticing all across South Central Michigan there is in that purplish pink red color. That is your mixed precip, freezing rain, sleet, or a mix of all types of precip filling in there. This is at 3 p.m. Going into the rush hour, 4, 5, 6 p.m. Here's 4, here's 5, and here's 6. That will move east-southeastward through the state. And if you notice there, that affects our major highways, I-96, I-94, US 23, I-69. I could go on forever with all the major highways, 127. But the overall takeaway here is this is going to arrive roughly in the same vicinity of our major interstate highways right at rush hour. And because we're looking at that rush hour time period coupled with the holiday season, Christmas shopping, holiday travel, the roads tonight are going to be a mess. And that is why we have heightened our wording with this event. So just to kind of clarify here, is this going to be a major snow event or ice event? No. Is it going to be impactful to travel? Absolutely yes. That is the main takeaway here. So if you guys are freaking out about a big ice storm, that's not going to be the case here. We're just concerned for travel purposes tonight. Okay. Going into the evening hours, it's at 3 p.m. here in the model. Here's 4, here's 5, here's 6. That snow will continue to work down. But notice how we have rain there for areas close to the Ohio-Indiana border and also further west toward Grand Rapids. Could get some rain mixing in there. Going into the overnight hours, sunset into the overnight, we're looking at that system moving out and should be clearing the state. This is at midnight right here. And then here's 1, 2, and by 3 or 4 a.m., we should just have some lingering precipitation in the state. So time frame is now if you're in northern lower Michigan, but if you're in that southern central from like Lansing, Grand Rapids, Flint, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, right, those areas, expecting mixed precip, your time frame is mid-afternoon or so from about 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m. would be our highest concern. Looking at a couple of our forecast guidance here, we made these, or actually Joel made these. This is your traffic impact keys. Traffic should be most impacted for this southeastern zone from roughly 2 to 4 p.m. onward to sunset there. We have travel is high impact or not advised there. That is because we are expecting that freezing rain sleet mix to really slick our roadways up during our evening commutes there. And that these are, excuse me, these are all posted on our Facebook page. So feel free to go back on our page and reference these if you need to in the future. We also have all the zones. We have Southwest Michigan here from about 2 p.m. to about that evening time frame, sunset 10, a little bit after that. That's when the highest impacts are expected. And then as we get a little bit further to the north across like Manistee, Harrison, the Tri-Cities, where this should be mostly snow up there, but still impact will travel because of snow and slick roadways. We're probably not going to see too much in the way of mixed precip up there, but it will still be high impact for you guys on the roadways. And we're really concerned with the amount of traffic we're expecting with the holiday season and also the evening commutes. Going a bit further north to northern lower, we have the high impact there from about 4 p.m. to about 10 p.m. That is just because that is when the roads should be worse with the heaviest of snow falling. And then for the last, we do have the eastern upper peninsula there that is going to be getting some snow, but for the most part, should be a little bit earlier than everybody else from 12 to 4 p.m. for you guys up there. Looking at our snow forecast, we also had that up yesterday. Still looks on track here, 4 to 7 inches up there in northern lower Michigan. Around that, a 3 to 5 inch zone from the thumb of Michigan all the way up toward Traverse City, all the way up towards Sault Ste. Marie. And then around that 3 to 5, we have a 2 to 4 zone from about Port Huron to about Mount Pleasant over to Ludington, and then up toward Manistee and Newberry in the UP. And that yellow zone where we highlight wintry mix possible, that is going to still be the main zone, perhaps shifting that just a tad north to account for latest model guidance this morning, showing a little bit further north of a potential mixed precip solution. So if you're like Mount Pleasant, if you're closer to the Tri-Cities, or should we say Peck there, Port Huron in the thumb, you guys could still get on some mixed precipitation, but chances are higher in that yellow zone for sure. And in that yellow zone as well, accumulations of snow will be quite minimal. All right. With that being said, did I miss anything, Joel?
No, I don't believe so. Other than the fact that I obviously travel is the most important thing here, so we really wanted to hit home on that this evening. Again, if you don't have to be out traveling, especially after 4 o'clock for the congested part of the states, do not be out there. Again, obviously, you're looking at your snow totals and you're like, oh, it's like 1 to 3 inches of snow. That's not bad. But as we saw in last week's system, we had 1 to 3 inches of snow and a little bit of ice under there, and that really crippled the Grand Rapids metro area. So. Just putting it into perspective, obviously, it's not going to be anything too crazy for snow amounts downstate, but it's that ice that does take motorists by storm. And especially since with the holiday season, you have a lot of out-of-staters in town, too, that might not know how to drive in these conditions. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of factors out there this evening that could cause travel impacts to be less than ideal, I guess you could say.
Yeah, also keep in mind as well that snow versus ice or sleet. You want ice, or you want snow rather than ice or sleet on the roadways. Because snow, at least it's slick, yes, but it can give us some traction. Whereas ice and sleet is just going to be a complete mess of like an ice rink out there. So you're going to look at those. Oh, it's no snow down here. Like Joel just said, the ice, freezing rain, and sleet is what's going to make this really impactful.
Absolutely.
Also, there's very little in the way of wind concerns, so no power outage concerns. Could a few cars, slide off the roadways, hit a power pole, take power out locally? Sure. But as far as major ice storm impacts, no, not at all. So no power outages are expected, or should I say no widespread outages are expected. All right, any questions? I can go ahead and pop up the advisory map. Almost every single county in lower Michigan is underneath a winter weather advisory here. So the counties in purple are your advisories. So we have Chippewa, we have Mackinac County in the UP, and then all of the counties in lower Michigan are underneath an advisory, exception of Berrien and Cass, which was just canceled by the North Indiana office. And then down here in southeast Michigan, Wayne, Monroe, Lenawee counties not in the advisory. So overall, I would still expect some amount of impacts down there, especially for Detroit. I wouldn't let your guard down being a huge metro population. But with the urban density of the population center, that does heat the atmosphere locally there. So that may, trend precip to be mostly rain instead of like a freezing rain or perhaps sleet. So it could favor that more of a rain solution. That's the best case scenario today, honestly. If we can trend to be all rain, that'd be great. But we're not expecting that to be the case. But if you do live in Detroit, Monroe, Lenawee, do expect there to be minimal impacts, but still could slick some roadways up briefly if we get an extended period of freezing rain and or sleet. Julie with $5 super chat says, "Oh snap, Joel's gonna dance. We get 9 more of these. We put a goal out Might start doing this a little bit more often, but if we can break some goals here with our super chats, we'll have Joel dance for you. I'm sure he's looking forward to that.
I just got up. You're gonna see me do the zombie, honestly.
Thank you, Julie. And also thank you, Sarah, for that $1 super chat. Appreciate your support. So again, our snow forecast here, going to throw it on the screen there for you guys to take a peek at. It's on our page. It's actually pinned to the top of our Facebook page. And I'll go reference that, as well as our impact arrows and traffic forecast maps. Highest snow accumulation will be further north, especially north of Mount Pleasant there, into that 4 to 7 zone, 3 to 5 zones. Further south, we are expecting that wintry mix possible, or pretty much likely at this point. A mix of pure rain, freezing rain, sleet, and maybe even some snowflakes mixing in for you guys, especially south of Mount Pleasant. We do also have a traffic map in terms of the actual map itself, not the arrows, but the map that Joel spent some time on overnight tonight. So this is basically the highest impacts expected. We're expecting that 96, 94 corridor from roughly Lansing down to Jackson, those particular areas. That's going to be the highest impact area for slick travel this afternoon and evening. So that's why we're kind of putting that not advised there from roughly Ionia County down toward Detroit Metro. And that's just because of busy traffic and major highways there. But otherwise, highest impacts, we're looking at a lot of high impact areas from snow mainly, but further south here, especially around 94, US 23, 69, 127, those major highways could definitely see slick travel this afternoon. Going further north as well, we do have those maps for you guys in northern lower. Highest of snow intensity there, right around the Gaylord area, Crawford, Roscommon. But again, highest impacts for a good chunk of northern lower, and then up in the UP, and then up toward Benzie, Manistee County, Leelanau. We're looking at the medium impact there just because snow totals are not expected to be as high in those areas. So time frame on the arrival of precipitation in terms of freezing rain, sleet, rain, snow, all that jazz for you guys in southern Michigan, right around that noon time frame and afterwards. This is noon right here on the model. We're seeing that precip arrive down here in southwest lower. And as we get into the afternoon, it's going to pick up intensity. And roughly right around that 3 to 6 p.m. time frame is when it really starts to get going there across our 94, 96 corridors.
What really stinks is I had something on the tip of my tongue I was going to say, and then I just forgot it. I'll think of it.
Tom says getting some rain in the Mendon area that is freezing on the windshield. I'm not surprised by that at all. Also, Montcalm County skyward in here, freezing rain and sleet now happening in Sheridan. So it looks like we're already getting reports of some mixed precip there across areas of the state. So thank you guys for those reports. And we also have 2 groups we can plug today as well. We have our Michigan Weather Reports Facebook group for you to drop your snow, ice, any reports you want to put in there, pictures, videos. That helps us out. And also we have a brand new group dedicated to traffic and travel impacts. So feel free to check that out. It's called Michigan Traffic and Accident Reports here on Facebook. You guys can drop your own reports in there. We'll also be using that later today to report on any major incidents here in the state. So feel free to check those groups out if you please.
I remember what I was going to say. So obviously with mixed precipitation today, there's an app out there that we plug all the time. It's free on the App Store called MPing. Usually we're like, okay, well, you can use it especially during snow, but we know, like, for example, in snowstorms, mostly snow's gonna be falling anyways. But today, when you have all wintry precipitation possible out there, it's best to use this app for these types of situations. So again, if you don't have the MPing app, it is highly recommended. It was broken for a little bit, but it is fixed now for those who might have seen that earlier. So highly recommend. Start sending in your reports later this afternoon as precipitation starts to fall, or if it's like already falling already. Definitely want to be sending those reports in. Again, you just get on there, hop on the app, just click the precipitation type you're seeing, and then you just press send report, and it just sends it right to the National Weather Service offices and the radar that we use, so we can see what's happening on the ground, because ground truth is important.
Especially on days like today too, when we're expecting all that precipitation type, we don't always know what's going on the ground. So 1 degree can make all the difference. That's where you guys come in. So if you guys report what's happening, that helps us. That helps the National Weather Service in general. So that's a great plug there, Joel.
Mhm.
We also have another $5 super chat from Sue. Should highways be safe by Tuesday mid-morning from Detroit to Flint? The answer should be yes, generally speaking. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to rise above that freezing. So if there's any snow, ice left on the roadways, it will melt during the day on Tuesday. And we're going to trend upwards throughout the entire week. So we could touch 50 by week's end. So we're going to stay by to our snow and ice that it's going to accumulate today. Thank you, Sue, for that $5 super chat.
Yes, thank you, Sue.
Heather says, get the Proton. I think she's meant to say Patreon app as well.
Maybe it's a different weather reporting app.
I was going to say Protron? Patreon? I don't know.
I've not heard of it. So see, I'm used to Patreon. That's what I think of when I see that. So
Penny asks how many degrees for tomorrow. So depending on where you're at in the state, mid to upper 30s would be the expectation. Then for Christmas, same story, mid to upper 30s. But as we get closer to Thursday, Friday, we're going to be looking at 40s, perhaps even 50 by the end of the week for some places here in Michigan. Should I try and leave work early in Lansing? So what we're telling people who ask us about what time should I leave, that kind of stuff, the best answer we can give you is the earlier you get out of the road or get off of the roads, the better off you're going to be today. So honestly, we don't really want to tell you what time you should leave. Like we're not that kind of consulting with you, but we can tell you roads will get worse the later it gets into the day. So take the information and use it how you please. It's also why we have those impact arrows made for you guys to kind of plan out your day and kind of see when we forecast or expect the worst of the traffic to happen. For example, for those of you probably watching in southern lower Michigan, this is southwest Michigan, so between about 2 and 10 p.m. be the highest impacts, especially around that rush hour, 6 to 8 p.m. And then for southeast Michigan, a similar picture there, 6 to 8, the highest impact there. And then anywhere from 4 to really 10 p.m., we're looking at the highest impacts there as well. So these are on the page. Feel free to check them out. They're there for you to utilize and plan out your day.
let's see if I can present my screen real quick. Something to share here. So obviously we were talking about how ground truth is important. We can kind of get a sense of what's falling at the surface when we look at certain radar products, such as our correlation coefficient product. We obviously, you guys have seen this before in our winter weather coverage, but we also use it for snow. It picks up on, if you guys don't remember, non-uniform and uniform objects in the atmosphere. Usually when we look at these reds, is my screen sharing, Ryan? I just want to make sure.
Yes, it is. Yep,
okay.
It is.
The reds and the purples you see on your screen is uniform raindrops, so perfectly cylindrical raindrops or snowdrops, depending on where you're at. But however you get down here into the 90 to 80 category on the scale here, again, correlation coefficient is not, or it's a scale without a unit, so it goes by percentages. And what we're seeing here is non-uniform meteorological objects in the sky. So that's these yellows and greens. And that's going to show us that there's likely some ununiform like ice pellets and stuff like that are floating around the atmosphere and or falling to the surface here, especially given that this is 2,500 feet off the ground. That's definitely probably making its way to the ground. So if you're in Ionia County, especially Clinton County right now, and perhaps in the Lansing area, you can see it down here at the edge of our precipitation band. You're seeing these yellows and greens, and so it's likely falling right now in your location is probably sleet and a little bit of probably grapple in some cases right now, especially since it's cold out there. But again, let us know what you're seeing with the Emping app, and I figured this was just a cool product to show that it's kind of like an X-ray of the precipitation that's going on out there. So.
Yeah, that's a current radar freedom. Any other questions, guys? Have you guys heard of the app called Windy? Yes, we have. If you know how to use it, it's a pretty good app. But again, models are models and should be interpreted by those who know what they're looking at. So typically, we don't really like to recommend apps with models, but it's a pretty decent app for cloud cover and wind and stuff like that. So, can you report on Discord? In terms of the MPing app, no, but you are welcome to send us your reports on Discord as well. We have, I believe, a Discord channel or a sub channel. I'm not sure what you call it, Joel, dedicated to that though.
Yep. There's a certain category for sending your snow reports. For those who do have Discord, it is on our Snow Lovers Paradise channel, I believe is what the name of it is called. So you can send in your snow reports there. That way you can keep it out of the other feeds. Just kind of put it all in one location for us, and it helps us out too. And then obviously we send those reports in the National Weather Service office, and they get reported into the database. So your information is valuable to the National Weather Service offices and, of course, us for snow reports and even freezing rain reports. And we don't expect anything greater than 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. Again, crippling effects for freezing rain is right around that 1/4 of an inch mark, and we're maybe half of that today at most. But if you do want to measure freezing rain, the best way to do that, I think, is you go up to a branch and you measure with a ruler one side of the branch. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, measure the 1/10 of an inch.
Yeah.
The nearest 10th.
It's been a while since I've measured freezing rain.
Do we expect flight travel to be impacted? First, thank you, Mama's Buds, for the $2 super chat. In terms of flight impacts, Joel, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I would say it's about this. It's probably gonna be around the same thing as normal driving travel impacts here. Again, if you have any flights coming in and out of the area, mainly beyond 4 o'clock this afternoon, again, they're not going to probably attempt it. They're going to have them probably circle around a couple times. Make sure it doesn't fall or they don't come in on the slippery runways. So, yeah, anytime after 4, between 4 and probably like 10 to 12 o'clock this evening is really when it's supposed to hit. So, if you know anybody that's coming in or going out at that time, let them know that they could expect some cancellations or delays.
Some freezing rain and sleet in Lansing. There's your first report there. So that matches what we're seeing on radar pretty well. So it is arriving here. We're going to have more developing later tonight or this afternoon, should I say. But it looks like the initial band of precip here moving across the state is a mix of all sorts of precip types. So I'm going to share my screen on the live radar look here. So radar does say it's falling as snow. This is precipitation depiction. Not always the best accuracy with this. For example, we looked at the sleet up there, Ionia County, also down here by Lansing. But if we look at the, as Joel pulled up correlation coefficient, we can definitely see areas and pockets of perhaps some mixed like sleet or grapple falling there. So even though it does say that, hey, it's snow, it's not always going to be that snow. It's going to be a mix there. So, but we are seeing some initial spots with that initial band of different types of precip there, but we're going to have more fill in behind it as well. This is not the only thing coming through today.
I wanted to pull up a sounding, but I don't want to confuse people. Also, my computer's a little slow right now, so
I've noticed.
I figured you would.
All righty, guys. Any other questions you got for us?
So
Do we have a go ahead.
I was going to say the winds won't be that bad today. So keep that in mind. You can answer your question. You're going to answer one from Freedom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it.
We don't have a timing map per se, but we do have impact arrows, which are just as good as timing maps, just in a different format. Go ahead and pull it up here real quick on my tab. What is this one? There we go. So Freedom, I'm not sure exactly what location you're in, but these are on our page here. In the top, you're going to see the zones. This is southeastern for like Hillsdale, Detroit, Flint, Bad Axe, those areas. We have one for Southwest Michigan. We also have one for West Central, Lower Michigan, which is up by Manistee, Tri-City areas. And then up in Northern Lower, we have you guys covered as well as the Eastern UP. So find your zone or the closest zone you fall into, and that will be your rough estimate on terms of impact timing. It's separating the traffic on top and then also precip rates on the bottom. That's your snowfall. Heaviest snowfall, your heaviest mixed precip like sleet and freezing rain timeframes. Freezing rain for Lapeer, possibility, sleet, freezing rain. I would say I see a couple questions for Lapeer, Imlay City, those general areas. You're looking at a borderline mix of snow and then sleet and freezing rain for you guys. So travel will be impacted for you guys this afternoon, evening, regardless. And conditions should improve drastically by tomorrow morning as well. Be prepared for slick spots Tuesday morning, but as we get through the day on Tuesday, they should improve, much improve. Is Paw Paw done? I would not say Paw Paw is done by any means. We're still waiting on more precip to fill in a little later on this afternoon. You are close to Lake Michigan, though, so that does help you stay a little bit warmer, perhaps. So maybe just be some rain, perhaps a brief mix. But no, Paw Paw is not done with this yet.
We'll likely have content rolling on Facebook all day today, mainly in the afternoon hours. A couple products getting up on the page. Could see another internal discussion at some point later today. We'll see. I'm going to be monitoring meso analysis this afternoon just to see where the highest banding is setting up for snowfall and perhaps obviously freezing rain as well. But again, can't do it without you guys. So feel free to download that MPing app. Again, MPING is how it's spelled. It's free on your app store. So any reports, do appreciate them. And yeah, obviously you can send in snowfall reports if you're in that heavy snow to the north up there in northern lower Michigan. Gaylord, Grayling is going to be your main corridor there if you live along 75. We pointed that out on the, I don't know if we pointed out on the stream yet, but the northern zone, we put also travel not advised for 75 between Clare County all the way up to pretty much the last county in Michigan.
Whoops.
Yeah, right there. So Otsego, Crawford, Roscommon, travel not advised throughout the day today for those areas, and a little bit into Oscoda County. Even you look around on the map here, you see pretty much all red though. Winter weather impacts can be common all over the place. So,
can you please make sure we have sunshine tomorrow? We can try, but it ain't gonna happen. The Michigan permacloud is too strong. Freezing rain in Alma right now. That is not surprising. There's going to be probably a lull after this first initial band of precip moves through. Go ahead and share my screen once again to radar. So we're seeing a nice initial band push through the state here. This is going to be, we're going to call it round one, I guess, for you guys from like Flint, Ann Arbor. It's going to push eastward here. That's a terrible arrow. Goodness gracious. That's a lot better. That's going to push through the state, but we're going to have a lull behind it before more precip back here moves in. So keep that in mind. We're not done with it this morning.
See, honestly, it won't more so move in, it'll fill in. It's supposed to just appear.
Mm-hmm. Snow pellets coming down hard in Sheridan. Thank you for that report, Sequoia. All right. Any other questions, guys, before we hop out of here? Been on here for about a half hour or so. So I'll do a recap here and then we'll go ahead and pop out of here, but I don't see more questions. So overall consensus today is snow is already ongoing across much of northern lower Michigan. Mixed precip from Mount Pleasant on south to about the Indiana border. That will continue, be the heaviest during the rush hour afternoon commutes from about 2 to 7 or so p.m. will be the heaviest precip for you guys in southern lower Michigan. Go ahead and look at the radar here. So snow's ongoing north and lower. We're going to have mixed precip start to fill in here. This is your afternoon. Here's 2 p.m. We're going to see that rain mix with sleet, freezing rain, perhaps all types of snow, rain, freezing rain, sleet in some areas. The further south you go, the higher the chances becoming of pure rain are. But I do think the entire state has a shot at becoming mixed with precip there, roughly between the afternoon evening hours from about 2 to, I'm going to say 7 p.m. or so. Overall forecast for you guys up in northern lower is 4 to 7 inches of snow, 3 to 5 around that 4 to 7 zone, and then a 2 to 4 zone around the 3 to 5 zone. Further south, no major accumulations of snow expected. We're concerned mainly for freezing rain and sleet impacts centered around rush hour as well as the holiday travel season. We want you guys to be aware if you're out on the roads today, which is why our wording is heightened. That's why we're here live explaining this to you guys. We are concerned tonight, especially for South Central Lower Michigan in terms of your travel impacts. It's not going to be an ice storm, no major snowfall here, but as we've seen time and time again this year, it takes a dusting of snow to make travel look like you're on a skating rink. So we can only assume that tonight will be much of the same. We're trying to get the word out and help people be prepared and at least maybe think a little bit better before they press the gas on the highways tonight. So that is where our concern is the most. With that being said, we'll have improved conditions tomorrow morning as we get through the day, as we rise above freezing. For those of you with several inches of snow on the ground, we're going to be likely looking at a white Christmas for you guys as temperatures don't get too high into the 30s for tomorrow or Wednesday. But I would think that most areas will melt some of that off by the time Christmas rolls around. So if you have like 5 or more inches, I think your chances of a white Christmas are pretty good. But less than that, I would be concerned. Did I miss anything, Joel?
Check your chat real quick.
We also have traffic maps posted as well as impact arrows that are posted on our page. So feel free to scroll back through our feed and check those out as well if you want to kind of plan around your day around the precip. All right, back to chat here for one last look at some questions. Scroll up here. All right. I don't see any other pressing questions, so go ahead and end the stream here by giving a shout out to our sponsors.
Yes, we have 5 of them today. As always, Cats Roofing and Siding out of the Potterville area. Go ahead and support them by calling 517-485-9886 for all your roofing and siding needs in the Lansing area. We also have Stormguard Roofing and Construction out of Detroit. That number is on your screen there, 248-985-3239. And again, if you missed the number, you can obviously go back and rewind the stream and look for these numbers. You also have Lifestyle Exteriors, one of our newer sponsors here, 989-854-3055. They pretty much cover statewide, so you can give them a call as well if you're located anywhere pretty much in the Lower Peninsula. We also added Pro Powder, 269-367-8722. And Titan, who we've seen on our graphics on our Facebook page, is also here, still a sponsor here for Michigan Storm Chasers, 248-929-2086. Again, we can't do what we're doing here full-time without our sponsors, so feel free to support them at your earliest convenience. So obviously, if you want to become a sponsor, you can also reach out to us at the email listed above, contact@michiganstormchasers.com.
And with that being said, I believe we're going to pop out of here. So again, stay tuned to our Facebook page for today. We have updates going out all day long on traffic, any updates in terms of the radar and the weather in general. We got you guys covered. So we'll see you guys later. Perhaps a live stream coming tonight. We'll see. Not sure on that yet, but we'll talk about it. You guys stay safe. We'll catch you guys later.
Have a great Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody.